Alright, now before I get started, I got one thing to mention real quick. My esteemed colleague, Aliana, who, I don't know, you might have seen one of her videos at some point. I don't know what she does. But she apparently took my comments about her thing pretty seriously. The comments I made in my video a couple weeks ago. So she decided in her last video to dress up as an elf. Which, you know, alright, whatever. I'll be the first to admit, I'm not an attractive female. My hair's kind of goofy. Yeah, I've got this little chin scruff thing going on that I should probably just shave off. I also do not own a pair of plastic elf ears. So, I think I can claim the moral victory here. Yeah. And she's probably going to do something crazy this week too, so just whatever. You go, girl. Article number 2. If you've been to tankspot.com recently, and that's the front page, not the forums, if you've been to the front page recently, you'll notice it looks quite a bit different. Ciderhelm, along with a couple of other people on staff here, have been working really hard, and by the way, that's what he's been up to lately. They've been working really hard on giving us a redesign and making the site a lot more streamlined, look a lot cleaner and everything, and it looks fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. It looks really good. There's a lot more features coming on the way for that too, and you know we're trying out some new stuff for donors, new sorts of donor rewards, that sort of thing. So definitely check that out. That is pretty cool. You should also, while you're there, be sure to sign up for this week's contest. We're still going on with the contest to give away the Murloc Marines. One thing I didn't mention last week is that we're also throwing in, for one lucky winner each week, we're also throwing in a Pandaren, at least I think it's every week. I hope it's every week. If not, this is going to be terrible. But a Pandaren Monk and a little KT along with it as well. So definitely check that out. You can get all three of those in-game pets, and it's pretty awesome. The Murloc Marine obviously is something that was handed out at BlizzCon. Kind of tough to get a hold of anymore, so go check that out. Finally, one other thing you should be sure to check out if you're planning on raiding Icecrown when 3.3 hits is, which by the way, that's 3.3, not 2.3. I know it's kind of hard to understand sometimes, but that's what I said. When 3.3 comes out, you are definitely going to want to check out Spiritus's guides. What he's been doing is looking through PTR videos, messing around with the PTR himself, digging through abilities, and has basically tabulated every scrap of information he could find on the encounters that are coming up in Icecrown. The two he's got up now are Lord Marogar and the other one. I don't remember the other one. There's two of them up there right now. Lord Marogar and something else. He's gone through, found every scrap of information that he could for those two fights, and has put it together into a guide. It's really great, and there's a lot of great discussion going on in there too about people explaining, okay, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you try this? Just sort of trying to get a strategy together ahead of time. So that's really cool, and you should definitely check those out if you're going into Icecrown. Finally, I just wanted to mention real quick before I get into today's topic, I may have erroneously stated in my last video that W is forward, A is backward, S is strafe left, and D is strafe right. Whoops. But don't worry, that's not what I do. Alright, so, topic for today. You may have seen this a little bit recently. It's been on the front page of TankSpot, and it's been kind of floating around all over the internet so far. The gated progression mechanics that are going into Icecrown. There's actually several different mechanics that are going in there, so I thought I'd come on here and try and explain all of them to the best of my ability, just to kind of clear the air and make everything make a little bit more sense for everybody. First of all, there are a total of 3 gates that can be opened. When the instance starts, there are 4 bosses that you have access to. I don't remember all of them off the top of my head. There's a lot of bosses in there. It's hard for me to keep them all straight, so I apologize. But the final boss that will be available is Deathbringer Sourfang. And there's 3 bosses before that, including the gunship battle. After that's been out for a little while, you know, given some time for people to get through all of that, the first gate opens, and that opens up 2 more bosses, and then a 3rd boss who is Professor Putricide. Now, he's the first of what I'm going to call main bosses inside Icecrown. There are 4 main bosses total. Putricide is the first one. You have a limited number of attempts on Putricide. Once this gate opens, you have 5 attempts to kill him. every week. Obviously that's going to be pretty rough, well, theoretically anyway, that's going to be pretty rough starting out early on. So you have that for a little while. Eventually another gate will open. When this gate opens, you get access to 2 more bosses, one of which, I really wish I could remember all the names of these bosses, but there's a lot. There's another regular boss, and then there's Blood Queen Lanethel. Blood Queen Lanethel is the second main boss in Icecrown. The number of attempts you get is then increased by 5, up to 10. And those are shared between the 2 main bosses that you have access to at this point. So, for example, say the second gate has been opened, you wipe once on Professor Putricide, and then you kill him. And then you go on, you kill the next boss, and then you get up to Blood Queen Lanethel. You'll have 9 attempts remaining. So it's just number of attempts, it's increased by 5 when the next gate opens. Finally, there is a 3rd gate that opens, which gives access to Sindragosa and the Lich King, and I think there's one other boss in there as well. Sindragosa and the Lich King are the 2 remaining main bosses. You only get 5 more attempts though when this happens. You don't get 5 per boss, you get 5 when a gate opens. So you'll have 15 total attempts to share between Putricide, Blood Queen Lanethel, Sindragosa, and the Lich King total. So very, very easy. It's going to be very, very easy to have that gate open and accidentally use, or maybe not accidentally, who knows, but use all your attempts on Sindragosa and not actually get access to the Lich King right away. So, to recap that real quick, first gate opens, 5 attempts, all of them go towards Professor Putricide. Second gate opens, 10 attempts, those are shared between Putricide and Lanethel. Third gate opens, 15 attempts, like that, and those are shared between Putricide, Blood Queen Lanethel, Sindragosa, and the Lich King. So that's how that works. The number of attempts you get actually increases as time goes on. After that third gate opens. Wow. So I don't know what the maximum number that's going to be is. I don't think they've said so far, but it's not just going to be 15 attempts all the time. If you can't get it in 15 attempts, that's terrible. No, it'll increase as time goes on. Also, they are going to be adding a buff, which seems to work a lot like the Sunwell buff did back in, well, Sunwell obviously. It's a raid-wide buff, just a passive thing. Everybody gets it. Increases your hit points, damage done, and healing done. So everybody gets this buff. The buff actually increases in strength as time goes on as well. So it's kind of like a setup of the really hardcore raider, super progression focused, just getting in there and plowing through it. They're going to have a real tough time getting everything done because you're only going to have these 15 attempts. You're not getting the buff at all. You're only going to have these 15 attempts to get in there and kill the Lich King. And those, by the way, are shared between normal mode and heroic mode. So if you're doing heroic attempts, you still only have those attempts. And then as time passes on, the instance just starts to make things a little bit easier on everybody. So the people that couldn't get in there and just plow through it and actually make use of, or get the Lich King down in those 15 attempts, they still have the opportunity to go through and kill him. Finally, heroic mode is, actually I got one more thing after this, but first off, heroic mode is only opened up by killing the Lich King. So you can't actually attempt heroic versions of anything until the Lich King has been killed by someone in your group. In order to attempt the heroic Lich King, you have to have defeated heroic of the other 3 main bosses, Putricide, Lanethel, and Sindragosa. All 3 of those have to have been killed on heroic mode to be able to kill the heroic Lich King. So it's going to be pretty rough trying to get heroic Lich King down, and it's going to be quite a while before anybody can do it, both due to the limited number of attempts, the gated progression, and obviously the fact that you've got to kill the other ones on hard mode first. So that is all I had for this week. Keep sending me private messages. Don't send me messages through YouTube. I read the comments. I read all my private messages. Private messages sent through YouTube actually go into Ciderhelm's inbox, and pretty much everything goes in there. So that's really not a good way to get a hold of me. If you want to talk to me directly, you can leave a comment on the video or send me a private message on TankSpot. My username is Lore. Just talk to me there. So until next week, yeah, Until next week.